Hi, I'm Marc. I'm Solution Architect at Swiss Post, and together with a DevOps team, I'm taking care of the parcel sorting software landscape. And today, it's a talk for you, but it's also kind of a message to the organization. So, like many other enterprises, we underwent an agile transformation to solve all our problems. Of course, it didn't, but there are definitely good parts. So instead of managing dependencies, we now strive for independency. In this new world, every team acts technically independent of each other. We have no coordinated releases, and every team is responsible for planning, building, and running an application. However, this is not a silver bullet for appropriate software quality, so things fail. And as this was always the case, interfaces are the major concern, and that remains the same as well. So we will have failure there. And this is where the intuition takes the wrong route. People screaming end-to-end, and they want to reintroduce central management, testing all applications together, or also observe from A to B over the whole landscape. But that's not really what DevOps is about, isn't it? There's a human tendency to think that the whole is more than the sum of its parts, but at least in software engineering, that's not the case, so there is no emergence. If that's true, then we are able to fix the problem within a single team in a single application. And I will do that example with functional testing, but you can apply the same thinking also for other problems. So that's the smallest unit we have, a function. A function consists of an input, state modification, logic of course, and of an output. There's always at least an implicit contract you have for this smallest unit. If you want to test a function, you have to test the input and the output for contract conformity, and if an input results in a state transition or in a certain output. And you have to do that in absolute isolation. So we do divide into functions to reduce complexity, but we have to plug them together to get a working system. So the next unit of abstraction, let's call it a module. When you have a module, you get nothing new, because the logic resides in the smallest unit you already have. That's a function. If you need some glue to put functions together, what's that? A function. So you can zoom out and you can look at this module as a black box, and when you do that, you get the same as before. You can apply the same thinking steps. What do you have to test? Input, output, state transitions, but there is nothing left. We tested everything already. So plugging modules together results in a system. Also here, nothing new. Okay, you want to probably add some use case tests, but more for documentation. You should not try again to verify functionality. Back to practice. In our example, system A emitted the JSON file onto Kafka. It conformed to the contract, but actually there was a customer number sent instead of a billing number. It crashed in system B. When we look at this problem, we will find a function in system A that emitted or that made this error. And in this case, it's as trivial as a wrong mapping. So what does that mean? That means it's always the system A that's responsible for its output. You never need the other system for integration testing. You can verify your own output, and you should do that. Another fallacy I often hear is that, well, not everything is important to test, like mappings, for example. But that's not true. You have to test for everything. Else you will fail, and you will fail at the interfaces. Last but not least, just because we do not test together at runtime, that doesn't mean you do not have to speak to other teams or to talk to other teams. You have to agree on a contract, and you can even exchange messages as if you would do when you test together. I often get the question, well, Marc, our end-to-end tests fail. Can you offer us a fast track? And the answer is no, there isn't one, even not with AI. If you fucked it up at the root, you have to fix it there. And it's hard work. We are 15 devs. We have no testing environment. 70% of our code is test code. We ship at least 10 times a day, and we ship faster and safer than anybody else I know. Thank you for listening.